So we all know why we're here, of course. That's why we're here. I don't think we're lost. So everyone is comfortable with English, or anybody prefers mix between English and Hindi? Mix? Are we okay with mix? That's fine. Okay. So we are honored to have Professor D.P. Agarwal, sir, who is the Honorable ex-UPSC chairperson, one of the wisest people I have ever met in my life. And I have had the honor of meeting him a few times over coffee and have had a long conversations with him. And we are also delighted to have Mr. Athar over here, who has made the entire Jammu and Kashmir extremely proud, and of course all of us in the entire country. And without taking further time and talking about too much, I'm going to please request sir to come on stage and speak a few words.
Morning, friends. Indeed, it's such a great pleasure to meet such young people who are aspiring to achieve their targets. And we already have a person who planned for himself, made all the efforts, and to achieve it. Must say that it must be a time to listen to a person who has done it. I must say on my behalf that he has come through a most difficult selection process, but I would say most unbiased process, where if you are good, if you are hardworking, if you are honest, you are definitely going to be selected. If you possess these three qualities, I am sure nobody can stop you. But you should always keep in mind that in the world there is always a competition. Competition is at home, competition is in the society, and competition is when you are trying to seek the best place. And you remember that to go to the top, only few would reach the top. And what you have to inculcate in you is that spirit to reach at the top. The path to reach the top is not flat. If it is a top, there is something bottom. So you have to go from bottom to the top. And the difference lies where your bottom lies. If a bottom is rock bottom, you require 4 times effort. If your bottom is, say, half the way, you require half the effort. And as the bottom goes down, the effort goes proportionally high. So first you ensure within you that where does your bottom lie, and that is to know for yourself. If you know that you are a good student, if you know that you worked hard, that it has been your passion to work hard, that you have been honest to your cause, and that you judge yourself very well, then this rock bottom is not rock bottom, but something up. And then you keep your goal in such a manner that if you jump, one is that you jump and touch. You must have seen a young child trying to touch a fan. Current day children in the modern homes, they see fan and try to jump and catch a fan. It's like this, They make all efforts, number of efforts, and somebody in the end of the day say, first you grow, then you can do this. And they also caution that not everything should be touched. So it is important that when you prepare, not everything you should do. You should do very focused. You should be very clear what you are trying to do. You should keep one goal, but also keep a second goal in mind. Because life is limited in such a manner that if I continue to follow a goal, for example, I keep on telling most of my young students, candidates who come, there must be a time when you decide for yourself that enough is enough. The commission today provides up to age of 32, about 6 attempts for general categories, 8 for SC/STs and up to numbers. But then the issue is that would you continue to go 7 or 8 attempts? A day should come to you when you decide that yes, I can do it. If I can't do it, take a call back and listen to yourself. Are you honest to yourself to take the next call? Otherwise, this is the time to give up. Take another area where you can excel. Maybe it was not for you. Not that you have not worked hard, but not everybody is cut out to do everything. Maybe somebody is cut out to do other things. I mean, the examples are enormous. Nowadays, if you read newspapers, they bring out some very fine works has been done by people who have been neglected either by society or they have been not doing very well, but they are doing something very well in other areas. So please find that out when you decide for yourself what you are. In that also decide why you want to achieve this target. Because target must be such that in one effort or two efforts you should be able to go. If you think you are going to take up to number of years, then you are losing your youthful energy. Because energy is such that between age group of 18 to 30 is that the store of energy must be utilized to something very concrete output. In that concrete output you should decide alone. And again I said, it's only you and your inner voice. It cannot be a parental pressure. I can only give you an example. When I was still the dean in the IIT, and after JEE boys come for counseling, one of the boys came, very high rank in the JEE, he said he only wants to do physics. His father said, what is the best one gets? And at that time it was computer science. He said he forced his son to get into computer science. And let me mention that in the second year he failed. This clearly indicates that parents look at something which you are not looking. I am not saying please rebel against parents, but listen to your inner voice. Where your heart is not, you cannot achieve that. So this boy became wreck, called his father and said, you are doing something wrong. Let him shift to physics. He shifted to physics after 2 years and became a very good researcher and went to NASA labs. He, as a computer science, he did not see any value. So it is his value judgment. For you, there could be some other value judgment. Some of you might become this or that. I keep on telling, civil service exam is such where you only are interviewed for the IS. In one of the academies I addressed, and I asked young students who were selected to particular that service, I said that was not your service. How do you motivate yourself to be in this service? For example, you are interviewed, you are taken papers to become an IS. You don't, because there are limited seats. You also don't become an IPS. You become in the lower bottom of say 600 seats. So these are the seats which you never liked. You are not an account person, but you got in accounts. How do you motivate throughout your life? So you got into a groove where you are doing something which you never liked. You are not cut out for it. So excellence would not come. My suggestion is, judge yourself better, work very hard, learn from wherever it is possible, learn from experience of others. Don't think that somebody who was with you in the coaching, if he has made it, he has not made it, he has not done any hard work, it is wrong. He has worked hard, probably he was doing harder than you, maybe his day was there on that day, but it does not mean that he has applied shortcuts. The other point which I see in this country, everybody believes that he does not get what he should deserve, but you tend to forget that you are one of those 10 lakhs which are appearing to aspire for only 1,000 seats. So you can imagine only 1 marks would be sufficient to differentiate. So keep these in mind. I think since Athar is here, he is a proud person, achieved ranks 2 in the civil services. He is an IITian. It does not mean only IITians get the top rank. You know the first rank is not for an IITian. Young girl, the first attempt, like any of you. But then, mind you, she has been very good in studies. Did you notice that? So there is a correlation between what you do in your education and what you do in preparing civil service. So I have 2 people here. One, the top ranker, everybody knows, and one is Athar, who is an IITian. So you can understand that this matters a lot. Your seriousness in education brings you good laurels here when you prepare. So So don't, that's a judgment you bring in. But I'm not saying that only these people will succeed. Anybody can succeed. It's a determination, your own judgment. So since he's here, I have very little chance to talk to him. Very fine young person. I must say his heart lies with the young students of his own state, young children. You must be all very proud that he has already travelled across the state talking to school children. Now that is where his humility would come. That's where his next challenge is. When you become a civil servant, the challenge starts. Do you understand what the challenge is of a civil servant? He is supposed to be a leader. He is supposed to be there all the time to solve your problem. So he must understand the problems. And how does he understand the problem? And he must understand them correctly. And I thought he is doing that he is going village to learn what is the difficulties. And that is the life of future. So all you want to become civil servant, please try to keep this object in mind, that you are there to understand the problem of people. Try to bring some solutions with the team with which you are. It's not a single-handed. Nobody can do single-handed. It's the team which you have to work. So motivate that team to deliver those desire of the people. Ultimately, people judge you. Some people become very popular. Some nobody talks about. Only those who are very close to people, who are humble, those who are honest. Still in this country, these two words are respected greatly. That you are a humble person, that you are an honest person is still a benchmark in the social life. Athar, I wish you very best in your future career. These young boys and girls want to listen to you. I invite you to share your experiences with them. And I wish you very best in your future career. And here is a person who would share with you whatever he has done to achieve what he has got. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'll request D.P. Agarwal sir to kindly felicitate Athar and our other rank holders. Sumanji, if you can announce, please.
India ranks second. Karan Chowdhary, rank 769. Arvind Namdev, rank 648.
Athar, please, stage is yours.
Respected Professor D.P. Agarwal. Okay, is it fine? Is it audible well? Yes. Respected Professor D.P. Agarwal, sir, ex-chairman UPSC, dear faculty members here at Unique Shiksha, and all you friends. First of all, a very good morning to all of you. It's a big privilege for me to be here. The reason being, because like you just few months back was also an aspirant trying to follow my dream, trying to achieve my aspirations, which as a student I had nurtured. D.P. Agarwal sir referred to some of the very, very important things about us as individuals, about us as students. First thing was that we should actually try to first understand what we really want to do in life. It's not that we shouldn't want to become an IAS just because we saw somebody going in a lal batti. Okay, so each one of us has a different caliber, has a different a genius, and probably different interests as well. So what we want to do should be ineffectively decided by our own interest and our own passion. That's one aspect of it. I come from a village which is very remote in district Anantnag. How many of you heard of district Anantnag? Okay, many of you. Thank you so much. Yeah. I'm sure they would have heard it before. At my home, I have my grandfather, my grandmother, my parents. My grandfather, he is an illiterate person. He doesn't know how to read and write, yet he has been the biggest inspiration in my life. The reason being his passion, his sincerity, and his hard work. All my life, I have seen him work hard from early morning to late in evening, without complaining, without telling, I didn't want to do this. He's a farmer and he takes pride in being a farmer. And he gives me a very, very often he tells me this sentence, Kashmiri mein, Frestas huruizin ke boon hishkes banan. What it means, how many of you have seen a tree called a popular tree? Have you seen it? Yes. How is it? Yeah, it's if there's a marker. Yeah. And how many of you have seen this tree called a chinar? Okay. See, the tree, this popular tree, it grows straight. Okay, it grows straight. It grows very high, but it grows very straight. But if you look at chinar, it grows, then it's shoot. It expands like an umbrella, and the chinar tree becomes the biggest source of shade and best source of shade for people. And there have been many villages and many even towns which have grown around those chinars. So what his advice is, never be like that popular tree, be like that chinar, which gives shade, which not only grows for your own self, but also gives shade to others. That, I think, exactly should be the philosophy. Yes.
So he's been telling you about humility. That also can be related to that, one should be humble.
Yes, indeed. So coming straight away to this examination, because I know that most of you are aspirants and you have put your weight, your whole efforts and your energy into this examination. I will straight away come to some of the things which I think are very important from this examination point of view. First thing is, generally when you talk about something, you talk about three things. First is, what is this thing, right? Second thing, you talk about how. But there's one more thing that's also important, that's why. So, I think the journey as a civil servant aspirant, so civil services aspirant, as an aspirant, it should start from an answer to this question, why? Why do I want to appear in this examination? Why do I want to become a civil servant? Okay? So I think every one of you should convince yourself with something reasonable, something logical, something rational, that why do you want to come into civil services? Is it just because that your mom and dad wanted you to see to become an IAS? Is it just because that you saw somebody, an IAS, going in a car and he had 3 cars in front and 2 cars behind? Is it because of that? So what is that thing that is driving you? That why part is, I think, the most important. And if you are sure about this question, the answer to this question, why, this would be the biggest source of motivation for you to prepare for this examination. And say at the end of your preparation of 1 year or 2 years, even if you don't qualify, still you would have a larger goal in your mind. You wouldn't let yourself go waste. You will find other ways. You will find alternative routes to achieve those targets that you had kept in mind. I believe, everybody cannot become a civil servant, but if there are different fields, And as a country, as a nation, as a world, we need good professionals in every field. We need best teachers, we need best doctors, we need best engineers, we need best entrepreneurs, we need best farmers and agriculturalists, and at the end of the day, we need best citizens as well. So the kind of goal, the kind of motivation that should be in front of us should at least do this value addition to us as a person. At the end of this preparation, at the end of this course, even if we are not able to clear the examination, we should end up being better citizens. We should end up being more contributing and better citizens of this country. And for that, it's very, very important to have a larger goal, a goal which is higher than simply clearing an examination. Okay. So this examination is not an end. It cannot be an end. It even cannot be a dream. It's simply a means. Okay, that many of us perceive that civil services is probably one of those ways in which we can contribute to a great extent to the society. The kind of work we do, it has a multiplier effect. Every decision you make, every action you take, it affects thousands of lives. Okay, yes, these are positions of responsibility. These are positions of power and authority in which you have that ability to make some difference down at the grassroots levels. Okay, that's true. But our ultimate aim is to, in one way or the other way, contribute to the prosperity of this country. And that should be our dream. That by the time we get old, by the time we're about to die, we should be able to tell ourselves that we have lived a life worth living. We have not let our these days and these months and these years go waste. हमने कुछ किया है. We have, अपने there should be a smile on our face the day we leave this world. So that is the why part of it. Because there's now one more aspect that is probably that many of you would be more interested in, but I wish you also put some energy into the why part of it. So now what and how? Now whatever you do, it's very important to understand what you're doing, right? So when you're writing this examination, when you're preparing for this examination, it's also important that you try to know this examination. Okay, what does this examination want for you? What is it trying to test you? Yes, there are 3 stages of this examination. You have a preliminary examination, you have a mains examination, there's a personality test. And each of these stages has a specific purpose, okay, specific objective. It wants to test some of your things, some of your traits, some of your skills. Okay, so it's very, very important for us, that even before we start a preparation, that we try to understand the examination very well. Okay, so best way to do is, go through the details of the examination, go through the whatever is the prescribed syllabus of UPSC, what is there in the mains, what is there in the preliminary examination, what are the things that are being tested in interview, in your personality test. Try to understand the nitty-gritties and the requirements of this examination very well. Now, once you do it, once you understand, once you are well aware of what you are supposed to do, once you understand this thing, then your preparation becomes very focused. You become things become very smooth for you. You understand, you know that, yes, these are the things that are required. Then when you will study, when you will prepare, you can do that very easily, you can do that very smoothly. So that's one part of it. And then there is the other part, that's the how. Okay, so first we spoke about why. So it's most important thing is why. Because if you are not well, convinced, if you have not convinced yourself well why you want to come in, your hard work will seem to you really hard to you. But if you are convinced that you have a certain larger goal, certain larger purpose, the preparation, the hard work will be fun for you. That's one part of it. Second is to understand the examination well. And this works everywhere. As a civil servant, say tomorrow if I have to work at some, at some position, I have to understand my job well. What am I supposed to do? What does this job require from me? What are the expectations of the people who are affected by the things I do as a civil servant? So it's very important for me as well to understand where I am, okay, what is the requirement of my job, what am I supposed to do, what am I supposed to achieve. Am I right? Yes. Then comes the third part, how. Since most of you are aspirants, so when it comes to how, So how shall we crack this examination? Or even for that matter, how shall we achieve something that we have set out ourselves for? And there is only one answer anyone and everyone can give you, that is hard work. Okay, nobody's a genius. I'm not a genius. My IQ would probably be lower than most of you. But there's one thing that I know that I have done, that's hard work. I have worked hard all my life, and inshallah I will always work hard till my last breath. So hard work is the key, and there's no alternative. Okay, so you have to put in your efforts. You have to put in your best of your efforts. So if you're preparing this year, tell this to yourself that this is the one time you're appearing this examination and you're going to do best in it. You're going to this would be your best shot. Okay, you won't leave any stone unturned. That's one thing. Then second thing is, now what do I mean by hard work? How do I measure it? Okay, say when in context of say preparation for this examination, what do I mean by hard work? So most of you would tell me that probably it is the number of hours that we study every day. Is it? हम दिन में 18 घंटे पढ़ते हैं तो ज़्यादा मेहनत करते हैं, 10 घंटे पढ़ते हैं कम मेहनत करते हैं. Is it so? I love this quotation. I had read it back when I was preparing for IIT JEE, sir. So it's not the hours put into work which matters, but the work put into hours that matters. So it is the productivity of your time which is more important, which is the parameter to judge how hardworking you are. So if you are studying for 10 hours, how much are you gaining out of these 10 hours? So if you're studying for 5 hours, how much have what kind of value addition have you done during these 5 hours? So by hard work I mean productive work, useful work. Okay. Similarly, as sir was pointing out, that it shouldn't happen that we prepare for 6 years. Okay, then it's not productive. It's hard work, but it's not productive. We have to make our time productive. And time, there's no bigger and better resource than time. Time is the biggest resource we have. Maybe I have 30 years in service or 35 years in service. This is the time I have. This is the canvas which is in front of me. And through our work, through our hard work, we have to fill in the colors into this canvas. So that is this part of it. Then there's one more thing. Now hard work, it also comes with discipline. It's very important to be disciplined in life. Okay, by discipline I mean to have a pattern of your life, a regular pattern of your life. It shouldn't happen that one morning I start getting up at 6 o'clock and next day I'll start getting up at 12. Have a disciplined life, at least discipline during your preparation. Say, have consistency and focus. So if you're spending 8 hours every day, make sure that you use and you spend these hours every day. Doesn't matter, whatever may happen outside. It shouldn't bother you. It shouldn't affect you. Okay? You should be committed to yourself and your objective. So that's again very important. So what I would suggest is, for proper time management, try to have a timetable. Okay? You make study plans. What kind of study plans? Maybe daily 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional study plans. How much you're going to study during a day? How many hours you're going to work during the day? What are you going to do, say, this week? How are you going to plan your studies in the coming month? So have those study plans in front of you. Okay? So, and when it comes to timetabling or it comes to time management, it's very important to have realistic goals. Unfortunately, in our country at times, we also suffer from this problem, that when we start projects and at first, हम लोग बड़े unrealistic time tables दे देते हैं, unrealistic goals set कर लेते हैं, which we know that we can't achieve, but yet we put them there. That should not be the case. You might have known our E. Sridharan, the Metro Man of India. His hallmark was time management, and what he used to say is that there is no bigger corruption than exceeding the time limits, than exceeding the timelines. So if you set up, say, 3-year goal for completing one project, and if you are ending up, spending another 3 additional years on the same project, that gap that you have put in is the biggest corruption you have done. Imagine the cost escalation. Imagine the resource, overutilization that occurs just because we exceed the timelines. But to ensure that we follow and we stick to our targets and timelines, it's important to have realistic timelines. to have realistic goals. So whatever timetables you make sure that they should be realistic. So ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि आप कहते हैं ना मैं एक बुक 2 दिन में खत्म करूंगा, ऑप्शनल तो एक हफ्ते में हो ही जाएगा, then paper 1 paper 2 and another 3-4 days, एक महीने में तो I'll be done with IAS and examination. कोई और एग्जाम है क्या उसका भी बता दो. फिर it shouldn't be the case. What's important is not to finish the book in 2-3 days or 3 days. What's important is to finish the book, to complete the book. Okay, so even if it might take you 3 months, it might take you 4 months, be it. But what's important is to get something out of that book. And आप वो कैसे देखोगे? How will you get it? When you study it well, you know, when you study it with patience. And I believe this examination is not only an examination of your information, it's an examination of your attitude. An attitude towards things, attitude towards your life, attitude towards your studies, and also a test of your patience. Because there's a huge syllabus, you are supposed to know different things in different breadth, and so it takes patience. You know, it also checks your persistence and perseverance. You know, how much committed you are that you can spend 10 hours a day for at least a year. Okay, so that is the test of how we as individuals, how committed we as individuals are to certain things. So that's one part of it. And probably I would not like to bore you much. What I would like to do is, I would like to take some of your questions and I'll try to answer them. Maybe we can have a small question answer session. But in the end, I would like to quote one of the biggest thought leaders and philosophers of our time. We have been very fortunate to have been alive during the time when he was alive, Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam. I got an opportunity to meet him back when I was in class 10th. He was class 9th or 10th. Back then he was probably in the last year of his tenure as president. I'm not very sure. Then he visited Kashmir Valley, and so from different far-flung areas and schools, students were invited, 1 or 2 students from every school. So he started his conversation with an example. He said, the laws of aerodynamics say that a bumblebee cannot fly. Okay, but it flies because it wants to fly. Okay, so there's a big learning from this as well, that if we try, if we work hard, there's nothing that we cannot achieve. So if we as a society, if as a country, if we as students, citizens, if we as civil servants strive hard, there's nothing that can prevent us from making this country great, from making this country prosperous, and one of the most vibrant and brilliant countries in the world. So in the end, again, one more quotation from him. He said, you know, for sustainable earth, we need great citizens. And by great citizens, he meant citizens with righteousness in heart. Because when there is righteousness in heart, there's beauty in character. When there is beauty in character, there is harmony in an individual, in a person. When there is harmony in an individual, okay, family prospers. When family prospers, countries become developed. When countries prosper and become developed, there is peace in the world. And that should be the bottom line for all of us. Thank you so much.
Any question?
My God, that's something. That's good. Yeah, they know all, no?
Can you please tell us what was your strategy in writing your essays and your answers? Like, what is necessary for that?
Yes, for essays, it's very important for writing an answer, before writing an answer or writing an essay, to understand the question and topic very well. Okay, so जो भी आपसे पूछा गया है वहाँ पे टॉपिक में, उसको सबसे पहले अच्छे से समझना बहुत जरूरी है. And you know, like in essay paper, we have different options. Say question 1, you will be given say 3-4 options. You should write that essay. You know, जो टॉपिक आप सबसे अच्छा जानते हो, समझते हो, you know, that topic which you understand the best. That's one thing. Second thing is, now once you have understood the topic, then spend some time in making an outline of the essay. So what are the things that you will write? कौन-कौन सी चीजें आप touch करोगे? You just think about it. Maybe you can use a rough page for that. What this will do is, in essay it's very important to, stay confined within that topic, to not to deviate yourself too much. Okay. As essay में क्या होता है, there's a topic, it wants you to argue, say, जो भी line of reasoning है वहाँ पे, उसके according. But it's very important that you don't deviate, because you're writing 1,000 or 1,300 word write-up. Okay. उसमें deviation के बहुत ज़्यादा chances होता है. So once you make this outline, you stay confined within the walls, you set up a boundary around you, that yes, you will discuss this thing. Many times ऐसा हो जाता है, हम लोग discuss करने लगते हैं तो कोई point, कोई aspect हमें ज़्यादा पता होता है and we start writing too much about it. So that should not happen. So जो पूछा गया है, we have to write within that confines. That's one thing. There is another, I have seen a very common mistake. मैं अपने दोस्तों वगैरह वो मुझे देते थे जब हम preparation करते थे, they used to give me their own essay, mock essays or something. एक बार check करके बता दो. Say if there is this topic, I like this example. Social media is another pillar of democracy. So what I see most of the people do is they write 500 words on social media. Social media is this. Another 500 words on democracy. So what they end up doing is writing a write-up on social media and democracy. When the essay was neither on social media nor on democracy, it was on social media is another pillar of democracy. Okay, that was the essence. How is social media another pillar of democracy? Is it actually another pillar of democracy? Does it, if it is a pillar of democracy, how does it benefit democracy? How does it, help us make democracy more substantive? Or is it that social media actually hampers democracy? It may be, somebody might argue that it's a kind of hurdle for democracy. So the essence of the essay should not be lost. You should carry it till the end. So these are the things that you should keep in mind while writing an essay. Same goes with questions, in mains answer writing. Understand the question very well. Then don't write what you know. Write what is being asked. अगर आपको कोई किसी चीज के बारे में क्वेश्चन पूछा गया है, आपको बहुत पता होगा, लेकिन जो चीज पूछी गई है उसके बारे में आपको only 5-6 lines. Just write those 5-6 lines, because they want to know what they have asked, not what we know.
Hello, sir. So I'm sure there are thousands ahead of me, but still congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And sir, my question, I have two questions. One is related to the specific timeline. What did you follow? I just want to have it for a reference. For example, now it's the month of May. How much time did you give for your first preparations?
Okay.
How much time for mock tests? And after your prelims, how much for written examinations? And the general trend till December and Feb?
One thing is, I think before your preliminary examination, you should have at least, completed your optional subjects and also some major part of your general studies. Because the time you get after prelims and, before mains, it's about 2.5 months. It's not sufficient to read a new subject, as such from graphic, okay? But this time can be best utilized for your for revising things, for improvising things. If you have, say, problems somewhere, you can check out those loopholes. You can also maybe improve your answer writing during this period. Maybe you can follow test series. So what I used to do is, mostly my strategy was that before my preliminary examination, even my main syllabus should be well covered. Okay, and preliminary exam se pehle I had joined a test series for preliminary examination. It helps. Okay, and you can also say now preliminary examination would be near, you can also start practicing some of the questions, say maybe previous year's questions or some other questions from different books. What these help, it's not that you'll get the same questions, but they will help you increase your accuracy. Okay, many times what happens is that you get a question, you have read it, but somewhere you have missed something. Okay, so while solving the questions, you become aware of, you become conscious of, what are the things that you have to keep in mind while you are reading. What are the things, how well and how thorough you have to be while studying. Okay, so it improves your accuracy, it improves your skills of solving multiple choice questions. So I would suggest try to solve them, try to practice these questions. And I think mains ke liye bhi test series helps a lot. Test series simply because it's one side is a feedback to you. Okay, it helps you to evaluate yourself periodically, say after every month or say 10-15 days you are writing a question paper, writing answers somewhere. You get to know where do you lack, where do you need to improve, and that is a rule for life as well. There should be regular checks and evaluations to our work. So down the line as a civil servant, we should also check. There has been 5 months as a civil servant. What did I do? Where did I lack? What were the problems? How should I improve? Because once we know the problems, then we can look for the answers, then we can fill those gaps. So it's important to evaluate yourself, and writing tests does help in that.
So one more question. Sir, normally with such flood of material and so many things changing so fast, a lot of decisions have to be taken on basis of intuitions. For example, there are subjects which you love, which you would be paying more emphasis. There are sections which you would be paying more emphasis, which maybe have turned out for you. Maybe you would have believed more in the school and something like that. So can you just, it's a little vague question, but believing in your intuition.
Yes, yes. He said about, it's something like, what's the role of intuition, maybe, probably. I want to tell you, come to one more thing again. Say, many of you may have known that in the past some years, questions from, say, art and culture, environment and ecology are coming more frequently. So, कोई पूछता है यार ये क्यों पूछते हैं यार art and culture इतना कुछ? What is the reason? So, we should also try to find the rationale behind it. If you look at the foreign policy of present government, the cultural diplomacy is an essential pillar of our foreign policy right now. You might have seen, whenever our Prime Minister travels to different country, he makes a point to, visit one of the places of cultural significance or something. Okay, so that means cultural diplomacy has got a role. Now, for that, we also need to understand our own art and culture, our heritage. We should be aware of it. Okay, so that's the reason it's important. Similarly, environment and ecology, environmental degradation is one of the biggest problems, biggest issues that the world is facing now. It's even the question of our own existence. Whether we as species, human beings, or this ecosystem will survive some 1,000 years or some hundreds of years henceforth, it will depend on how we behave, how we work, how we deal with our environment. So it's also important to understand the nitty-gritties, the problems and these issues. So try to be mindful of these things as well. Don't consider things in silos. It's not that, ऐसे पूछा गया है और UPSC को कोई मजा आता है हमें तंग करने का. They have a purpose. They have that purpose, okay? You should realize that purpose, understand that purpose well. Then I spoke about this thing, what of this examination, right? So if you spend some time understanding the examination, it will help you sail through this sea of information as well, okay? If you know, say, these are the areas that you need to focus in economy, things become well defined for you. जहाँ से भी आपको वो चीजें मिलते हैं, you can easily get them, you can easily read them. But understanding the thing, understanding and knowing what you're supposed to do is very important. Right? है ना कि जब वो घास के तिनके की तरह उड़ना नहीं है, we should have a focus. So वो focus कहाँ से आएगा जब हम जानेंगे हमसे चाहते क्या है, what we are supposed to do. Yeah.
I'm still in my graduation. I'm doing my graduation. So, is there anything we can start doing from now, which would give us a greater edge by the time we start our hardcore preparation?
First thing is, whichever subjects you are reading in graduation is one of the most important parts of our career, parts of our educational life. Make sure that whichever subjects you're reading in your graduation, you do really good in them. Don't let your studies, your education, whatever you're studying in college, suffer just because you're appearing in this examination. Because on one aspect is that education that you are studying in your education is very important for you to grow as an individual, as a civil servant, and it's also important for your UPSC examination. Okay, even in interviews, even in maybe mains question, it will help you in certain areas. In interview, they may ask you what do you have some questions about your educational background, about your graduation studies, and overnight in 2 months you cannot revise, and if you have not read well during graduation, make sure, because that's the this examination requires you to be at least a graduate. Okay, that means graduation is the minimum qualification. So we are supposed to be real graduates, not ऐसे जो निकल गए. Okay, so make sure that you study those things really well. Number one. Then कुछ चीजें हैं जो हम graduation में कर सकते हैं. If you have extra time, you can read some other subjects which are not related to your own, say the kind of subjects you are studying in your graduation. Okay, जैसे किसी का science है तो history, geography, you can read them, spare time for them. इसके साथ साथ जो newspapers हैं, जो current affairs है, it's very very important. If we, I think I consider, see, there is history. Okay, say there was revolt of 1857, and we read an account of this revolt of 1857. So हम लोग इसके बारे में पढ़ते हैं. But there were some people who were witness to those incidents during 1858, 1857. Okay, they were witness to it. Similarly, we are also witness to the things that are happening around us now. Okay, so how can we be the witness? By keeping track of things, what is going around us. हमारी कंट्री में कुछ इश्यूज हैं, कुछ इवेंट्स होते हैं, we should know them. Okay, we should be that alibi to those incidents. And for that, it's important that we stay informed through newspapers, through other media, जो भी आप यूज करते हैं. So newspapers, मुझे लगता है हमारे बच्चों को भी थोड़ा स्कूल से ही अगर हम थोड़ी सी आदत डाल दें कि वो अखबार पढ़ना शुरू करें, न्यूज देखना शुरू करें, it will help us in the long run.
Sir, when did you start your preparation? Actually, how much time did you devote to the preparation? You cleared it in your first attempt. You got IRTS in your first attempt, and you were freshly graduate. So, when did you start your preparation?
I started my preparation in the last semester of my B.Tech. So, my last semester ended in July, and our prelims was in August. That was previous year. And unlike many others, जिनका बचपन से शायद ड्रीम होता है IAS बनने का, शायद मेरा वैसा नहीं था. I have spent a lot of time thinking, a lot of time, trying to actually explore myself during my, B.Tech के time पे. I was a good student in academics as well. My CGPA is pretty good, so I did not compromise on that side as well. But I spent really a lot of time thinking, about whether I should go for civil services or if I want to pursue higher studies, if I want to go into industry. So there are what are the different options in front of me, and what is the best one which is suiting, my kind of passion, the kind of work I want to do. Where will I get that opportunity to do? And only after that I arrived at it's going to be civil services, and I started my preparation. So that was it. And how much time did I devote? We had Saturday, Sundays off at our college. I'll study Saturday, Sunday full for UPSC and for this examination. Besides, like after classes, generally जब भी class में जाओ, अगर आप class में college में class में अच्छे से ध्यान दोगे, अच्छे से पढ़ोगे, तो class के बाद same चीजें पढ़ने में आपको काफी time बचता है. Many of you might have experienced it. अगर यूनिवर्सिटी में कॉलेज में क्लास में आप अच्छे से पढ़ोगे, ध्यान दोगे, तो आपका क्लास वाला काम तो वहां पे भी हो सकता है, राइट? So you should make that also case. उससे क्या होता है? You get also some additional time, say in the morning or in the evening, जिसमें आप ये कर सकते हो. I did follow that. But when prelims, जिसके बाद जब prelims वगैरह हो गया, I came to Delhi after my prelims. So I spent time here studying for my main examination. But उससे पहले ही I had tried to complete as many things as possible. So, but yeah, there was a bit of paucity of time probably that affected somewhere in some of my papers, especially in my optional. But this time, in the second time, I first tried to analyze what are the areas in which I need to improve, what are the problems, in which areas did I get less marks, what are the problems, what are the issues, what are the loopholes, and I tried to overcome those loopholes first, rather than starting everything afresh.
Actually, there must have been a gap when you graduated for end SEMs and all, and before shifting to Delhi. So I'm having the same problem. So how did you manage that gap? Because currently that I have not studied for 40 days. So there is a gap. So, it freaks me out. So I just want to know, how do you manage this?
For that, the first thing I told you, consistency. That is, you should not do this कि आप अगर graduation में है तो आप आज से बिल्कुल खाली civil service ही पढ़ने लग गए. फिर जब exam आपको actual आएगा, then you will face problems. You will not be able to continue your civil service preparation. तब आप exam pass करने के चक्कर में लगेंगे. But अगर आपने अपनी जो class की studies को properly लिया है continuously, even during your examination you can continue your preparation for civil services. Do I make some sense? Yes. Okay.
Sir, first of all, many congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Sir, I have two questions. First, regarding the optional, sir, what was your strategy?
My optional was philosophy. So strategy was first of all to clear the basic concepts, because I had not read philosophy before. थोड़ा सा college में humanities का subject लिया था, which is an elective course. But yeah, जिस level की questions हमें UPSC के हिसाब से पढ़ना होता है. Best strategy is always, to start from basics. Try to clear your basic concepts, then build gradually. Okay. इसके साथ साथ जब आपने कुछ bare minimum चीजें जो आप पढ़ी हैं, then you should also go and read some other books which maybe others don't read. Say some of the books of this. For example, in my case, I would go to some of the reference books. I would read some of the books of some of the philosophers, some of the classic books written in philosophy. So they help you then polish your things. They help you develop command over the subject. At the end of the day, in your optional is one subject, one area in which you are supposed to know things really well. Okay. So even if for some people, if your optional is the same in which you have graduated or you've done your PG or something, you can take that as well, and you should work hard during your university time or college time to make sure that after you're done with your college and during examination you have to put in less efforts.
Sir, regarding philosophy only, sir, it is believed that paper 2 is not in philosophy paper, the second part is not so scoring. especially the socio-political part. What was your strategy for that, sir?
For socio-polity part, socio-polity is more about applied philosophy. Okay, in part 1 you have, in paper 1 you have your metaphysics, your epistemology. There's the hardcore, the substructure of philosophy. Then when it comes to socio-political philosophy, here we are applying our concepts which we have developed while discussing different philosophies. So it's more applied. Now when there's something applied, it has two connections. One is a backward linkage with the basic concepts from which you started them. Say we are talking about equality. So you start talking about equality, but before that you go to humanism. For humanism you go to metaphysical monism and many others. Okay, so there's a back linkage to this thing. But at the same time there is also a front linkage to it. How you apply, say, the concept of equality in the real life. Okay, so the question, the perspective should be such that on one side you should have a fair idea that where did this thing come from? How did we evolve towards this subject? That question will differentiate our socio-political philosophy from a political science student or a political science answer. But at the same time, we should not lose the track of what this thing is meant for. It's meant for people, it's meant for countries, it's meant for states, it's meant for societies. So we should also write from that perspective. It may be different examples, it may be different observations, different comments, or remote reports, and whatever you like. So that should be the approach.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. First question, the answer to this question, why? I was really very motivated per se, that I want to come into civil services and I have certain reason to come into civil service. There's something I want to do, and then there was the biggest motivation for me, biggest inspiration for me, that I have to work hard. And I was also aware of this thing, that even if I don't clear this examination, still I won't leave that thing. I'll still do in one or the other way. I'll try to contribute. I'll try to make some difference in one or the other way.
Sir, regarding the philosophy strategy for answer writing, because we know a lot of things and we have to word limits, so how to manage and what should be the main structure for that we should follow, especially for paper first? And
paper first is slightly less subjective. What I mean by less subjective is the questions that are being asked, they are straight from some philosopher's philosophy. Okay, there's little room for you to put in your ideas and your interest in paper 1. Okay, say there's Kant's philosophy. Say there's something on synthetic a priori judgment of Kant. You can't write stuff of your own. You have to write it what Kant has said. That means if you have studied things well in detail, if you have revised them well, you can reproduce things. You can also on the basis of your understanding in the examination paper. But paper 2, there's a lot of room in which your own observation, your scope, you can also put in there. So for the strategy for paper 1, as I told him, first of all, make sure that you clear concepts well. There's one more thing that I would like to tell you. What happens is that, for example, जो syllabus है, say there's a Descartes is a philosopher. हमारे syllabus में 4-5 चीजें लिखी हुई हैं Descartes की philosophy की. Unfortunately, what happens is that most of us end up studying only those things. But we should understand that these things are not in silos. Say determinism and freedom, किसी भी philosopher का, उसकी philosophy holistically समझने से पहले आप नहीं लिख सकते अच्छे से. So try to understand the things in the broader picture first. जब भी कोई भी philosopher है, इसकी general philosophy क्या थी? What were the broader contours of this philosophy? So it's not that वो चीजें आपसे कुछ पूछी जाए. Even if those questions are not asked in the examination, but they'll help you understand the things better. वो चीजें better जो शायद आपके examination में आएंगी.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. We have a few questions from classroom 2 as well.
Okay, so is there? So I should go there.
No,
okay.
Be around here, sir.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine.
Cool.
Yeah, my name is D.P.Agrawal. Regarding this is a kind of follow-up question regarding your preparation for essay.
Okay.
Did you use underlining, highlighting, or flow chart diagrams in your essay?
No, I did not use any flow charts. मैंने कहीं पे शायद underline किया है, but not much. Okay. I think essay is a very formal style of writing. It has a purpose. आप कभी अच्छे कुछ standard essays हैं, you read them, ठीक है. So flow charts etc. they don't fit. तो फिर essay का वो purpose नहीं रहा.
Exactly.
Okay, अगर हम flow charts या diagrams वगैरह लिखते हैं, I have seen some people do it, but personally I did not write. I got good marks in essay as well. I got 147, but I did not use any of these diagrams etc. It's a very formal style of writing. You're supposed to argue, present your cases, जो भी है, but you have to argue it very formally. I think that spirit of being it an essay. Try to make a distinction between essay and say 100 marks question in GS. पहले होता था ना, used to get questions 60 marks के questions आते थे ना? Yes. So there has to be a difference between a simple question which is of 60 or 100 marks and an essay. Essay a separate paper इसीलिए है because there's a certain style of writing an essay. There's a certain way of writing essay. So it's a formal way of writing essay, and that spirit should not be, in my opinion, उसको हमें ज़ाया नहीं करना चाहिए उस हिसाब से.
Okay. Another question is related to prelims preparation.
Okay.
I want to know how many questions you attempted in prelims exam, and if you were able to eliminate one or two options, did you attempt that question?
So in my what I did was when I started writing the questions, जो question मुझे अच्छे से आते थे, I solved them and I marked them as well. So I ended up maybe कुछ 50, 60 something ऐसे कुछ होंगे, जिनमें भी मुझे slight test भी doubt था. Yeah, say I'm not able to eliminate the last two. I put a circle there so that I could come back. So then when I was done with the first round, I went again with the second round for those questions in which I had to think more. Okay, I had to try to recall things. So that was done. So I maybe scored another 20 odd questions or something. So then third, there were some questions which I did not know at all, of which I had no idea. I did not attempt them. Okay, but there were some questions जिनमें मुझे लगा that three things I know, one thing I'm not sure of. Okay, so sometimes a bit of risk I did take in those questions as well. So what I'm trying to say is, if there are say 60, 70 odd questions which you can do well, of which you are very sure, do them properly, then you may attempt some questions of which you have fairly good idea, but maybe some doubt, you may attempt them. But if there are questions you don't know their answers at all, or you are very much doubtful about the answers, I suggest we should not, because there's negative marking as well, we should not end up losing the marks which we have gained in good right answers as well.
Good afternoon, Athar.
Yeah, good afternoon.
I am Mavish from Srinagar.
Hi Mavish.
Hi, and it's a real honor to get to hear from you, though
Thank you,
on the
thank you so
screen
much.
only from the other room, but it's a pleasure to see you and learn about all the words of wisdom from you.
Thank you so much.
Well, now that prelims is just 2 months away, so what do you suggest for a candidate to do at this point of time?
In this span of time, one thing is that don't forget to revise things, what you have read. आगे दौड़ पीछे छोड़ नहीं करना है. प्रीलिम्स के लिए इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट यू रिवाइज थिंग्स वेल. जो चीज़ें आपने पढ़ी हैं वो अच्छे से कीजिए, और अगर कुछ एरियाज ऐसे रहे हैं जिन्हें आपने सही से नहीं पढ़ा है, उन पे भी अच्छे से फोकस करो, डोंट स्किप थिंग्स. और इसके साथ साथ यू मे स्टार्ट प्रैक्टिसिंग सम क्वेश्चंस, दैट विल हेल्प.
Apart from that, just out of curiosity, I'd like to ask, have you attended any coaching in Delhi? Because every other coaching center is happening to claim.
No, I have done for a very brief period. For semester gap was there between 7th and 8th semester. During that time, it was some 1 or 2 months. I had joined, but I did not continue after that. But I did join some test series. In fact, 2-3 test series. 1 for my optional, 2 for my optional, 1 for my GS, and I attended in some 5-6 mock interviews. So mostly, जो आप newspaper में देखते हैं, that's because of mock interviews. Most of them, some of them are free, some of them are at the cost of 500 rupees. So it's because of that.
Okay, thank you so much. I'd like to ask a question to Agarwal sir as well. Can I go ahead with that?
Yes.
So go ahead, please. Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hello. Hi.
Again, it's a privilege to talk to you. I've happened to hear a lot about you. So,
Thank you.
my question is, do you think UPSC should do something about the menace of mushrooming of coaching centers? Because you may be surprised to know, the place I attend my classes from, they play on the etc. that has been mentioned in the syllabus in UPSC. For example, if there's a section which says we need to study events of national and international importance, most of the coaching walas, they play on the etc. word given in the syllabus, the ambiguity created because of that. So lots of people cannot afford to come to Delhi or other centers and spend so much of money. So do you think UPSC should be more clear about the syllabus and the ambiguity should be removed?
Yeah, if you look at the UPSC examination, it is neither pro-coaching nor against coaching. In fact, a lot of myths are around civil service exam. One of the myths is that you choose only this subject is more scoring. I thought this is a myth. So that drives you to go to coaching because you graduated in a subject which probably you don't take. You suddenly start taking a subject you never studied. So how do you study? So that's one of the problems which you are attracted to. Secondly, you are not too confident of your own studies. During your graduation, you have been not a good student, you are not serious, you are not regular. Athar has mentioned about regularity, it's important. At least the way the exam was structured during my time, it was, I must say that any good student who is serious in doing things could have done it without even coaching. Those who do coaching is purely because of their inbuilt fear that they go to coaching. Or maybe they think that something can be easily available. You are not the person who gets things easily available, so you think they are available there. So it supports only two things. One, getting this information, and secondly, maybe to overcome some of the fear. But I can assure you that UPSC neither promote nor goes against hammer and tongue on the coachings. That's not the objective. UPSC objective is to select the best and give the equal opportunity to all. Even if you have done the coaching, there is no harm. If you are not in the coaching, there is no harm either. There is a belief that people who have done coaching, they are given less marks in interview. This is incorrect. All is bullshit. So please don't carry any myths in your mind. It's your personality, it is your hard work, it is your clarity of the subject. As he mentioned, the questions are not straightforward. So what is written in syllabus, you must cover peripheral areas around it so that you develop depth. People, question on essay has been asked, and I thought he very categorically mentioned that in essay you tend to write things which are not relevant, and you fill that essay by that, and then say that I have written the best. Nothing is required. There are formal methods of doing things. Civil service is more of a formal examination. It is not tutored examination. And therefore, your ingenuity, your intellect should be visible in terms of understanding the question and answering accordingly. I hope I have answered you.
मयंक, मेरा क्वेश्चन डीपी अग्रवाल सर से है। सर मैंने लास्ट ईयर फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट दिया था और मैं इंटरव्यू राउंड तक गया था, तो इंटरव्यू में मेरे को काफ़ी कम मार्क्स मिले थे, 116, तो इस वजह से मेरा 10 मार्क्स सिलेक्शन रह गया था। मेरे को सर एक चीज़ पूछनी थी कि अगर मैं चॉइस ऑफ मीडियम इंटरव्यू के लिए हिंदी रखता हूँ, क्योंकि इंग्लिश में मेरे को लगता है कि मैं कॉन्फिडेंटली दे नहीं पाता, तो इस लास्ट ईयर मैंने इंग्लिश में दिया था, तो अगर मैं हिंदी रखता हूँ तो क्या वो कोई डिसएडवांटेज होती है? और दूसरा ये कि अगर हिंदी में इंटरव्यू मीडियम रखता हूँ और बीच में एक दो इंग्लिश के वर्ड्स यूज कर लेता हूँ, क्या उससे भी कुछ फर्क पड़ता है? और तीसरा सवाल मेरा सर ये है कि जैसे इंटरव्यू देते टाइम मैं काफ़ी शेक करने लगता हूँ अंदर से, मतलब काफ़ी नर्वस हो जाता हूँ, तो उस चीज़ का कोई सोल्यूशन है?
देखिए, पहला सवाल तो ये है कि यूपीएससी ने खुद ये डिसाइड किया है कि आप इंटरव्यू जिस भाषा में देना चाहें दे सकते हैं। यदि आपने इंग्लिश में लिखा है तो भी आप हिंदी या किसी और भाषा में, पर आपको पहले बताना पड़ेगा। यदि ऐसा कहा गया है तो ये आप सोच लें कि इसमें कोई ये डिफ्रेंशिएशन नहीं है कि आपने अंग्रेजी में अच्छा दिया है या हिंदी लिया है तो आपको कम मार्क्स मिलेंगे। भाषा के माध्यम से इंटरव्यू के नंबरों में कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता है, मैं एश्योर करता हूँ। दूसरा, आपकी मदद के लिए हमने ये कोशिश भी की है कि वहाँ इंटरप्रेटर होता है। तीसरी बात यह है कि कोशिश ये की जाती है बोर्ड में, आप सभी लोग जो जा चुके हैं, कि एक तो बोर्ड में एक आपको कभी नीचे दिखाने की कोशिश नहीं की जाती है, तो डरने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है। वहाँ जो लोग बैठे हैं आप ही जैसे सामान्य हैं, उनको जीवन का अनुभव है और आपसे वही पूछते हैं। आपने ये भी ध्यान दिया होगा कि रटे सवालों पे जोर नहीं है। आप कैसे सोचते हैं चीज़ें, कितनी ईमानदारी से सोचते हैं, नए तरीके से कैसे सोचते हैं, ये सब चीज़ें उसमें हम देखते हैं। अधिकतर लोगों को ये बड़ी गलतफहमी होती है कि साहब इस वक्त झूठ बोल के निकल जाएंगे, वो बड़ा मुश्किल होता है। हम बार बार आपसे कहते हैं कि जैसे साधारणतः एक सवाल लोग करते हैं कि सर मैं गैस कर लूँ क्या? आपने सुना है ना ऐसा? लोग कहते हैं कि साहब आपको कम आता है तो गैस कर लें। अरे आप गैस कर रहे हैं तो इसका मतलब हुआ कि आप डिसीजन नहीं कर पा रहे हैं अपने बारे में। तो तो मैं कैसे बता सकता हूँ कि आप गैस करें न करें? मेरे लिए तो आपने बताया अपनी पर्सनैलिटी का हिस्सा कि आपको डिसीजन करना नहीं आता है, तो ये आपके अगेंस्ट नेगेटिव ही जाएगा। उसके बाद आप कितनी भी कहानी सुनाएं मुझे कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता। दूसरा, आपसे इंटरव्यू में जो सवाल पूछा जा रहा है आप उसके आसपास तक ही रहिए। ये नहीं कि पूछ हम आपके लिए पूना के बारे में रहें और आप मुझे बता रहे हैं तमिलनाडु के बारे में, दस मेरा इंटरेस्ट नहीं है उसमें। तो टू दी पॉइंट जो इन्फॉर्मेशन है आपके पास उसको सोच के अपनी तरह से इंटरप्रेट करके उसको बताइए। हम आपसे जानना चाह रहे हैं कि साहब कलेक्टर यदि बने हैं तो क्या कर सकते हैं, आप मुझे फिलॉसफी सिखा रहे हैं, वो नहीं है उद्देश्य। उद्देश्य कि आप क्या जानते हैं जिस काम में जाने वाले हैं। कुछ सवाल ऐसे जरूर होते हैं जैसे इन्होंने भी कहा कि आप ग्रेजुएशन करके आ रहे हैं, हमने आपसे पूछा कि भाई वाइस चांसलर कौन था यूनिवर्सिटी का, आपको इतना भी नहीं पता है। दिस शोज योर नेग्लिजेंस, नो रेस्पेक्ट फॉर एजुकेशन, दिस ऑल गोज अगेंस्ट यू। आप जब विश्वविद्यालय में पढ़ के आए हैं आपको ये तक पता ना हो कि विश्वविद्यालय कब बना था, किस जगह पे है, तो ये तो जाती हो जाएगी, तो आपकी पर्सनैलिटी का हिस्सा नहीं है। यू आर वेटेड टू ए रॉन्ग कॉज, नॉट फॉर पर्सनैलिटी डेवलपमेंट। छोटी छोटी चीज़ें होती हैं, आप किसी शहर में रहे और आपको पता ही नहीं कि उस शहर में क्या हो रहा है। मैं सरप्राइजिंगली किसी जगह जाता हूँ तो पूछता हूँ कि भाई यहाँ कोई विजिटर आए हैं तो आप बताएं शहर में कुछ देखने को है। 90% लोग ये नहीं बता सकते हैं कि शहर में क्या देखने को है। ऑन दी कॉन्ट्ररी, कभी आप बाहर जाएंगे तो कोई भी यूनिवर्सिटी का स्टूडेंट आपको बता देगा, चाहे वो BA फर्स्ट ईयर का है या MA फर्स्ट ईयर का है, कि इस जगह क्या अच्छी चीज़ है, क्यों अच्छी चीज़ है और आप कैसे जा सकते हैं। तो हम जो चीज़ें हैं इन पर ध्यान नहीं देते बिल्कुल भी, तो पर्सनैलिटी हमारी रट के बनती है, तो उसमें डेप्थ नहीं आती है। वही इंटरव्यू में ज़्यादातर लोगों को नुकसान दे रही है। ये जो आप मॉक टेस्ट करते हैं, जो आप जाते हैं, इसमें कुछ नहीं बदलेगा आपका। आफ्टर ऑल आपने 4 जनरल स्टडीज़ के पेपर्स लिखे हैं, इसके अलावा क्या इन्फॉर्मेशन आपसे एक्स्ट्रा मांगते हैं? कुछ मांगते हैं क्या? आप इतने लोग बैठे हैं यहाँ पे, किसी से एक्स्ट्रा पूछा क्या? ये ज़रूर पूछ लिया होगा कि यदि कोई साहब ये पन्ना से हैं तो आप बता दें कि पन्ना में पर्ल्स इसकी ज्वेल्स की माइनिंग कब से बंद हो गई, क्यों बंद हो गई। ये कोई अनयूजुअल क्वेश्चन नहीं है। इफ़ यू कम फ्रॉम ए प्लेस, इफ यू डोंट नो व्हाट इज हैपन टू द इकोनॉमी ऑफ दैट प्लेस, इफ यू आर नॉट ओपन टू दीज न्यू आइडियाज, if you tomorrow selected goes to district collector there, you would know anything. So whole idea is to know आपको क्या आता है, आप क्या समझते हैं। अब दिल्ली में रहते हैं, आप ये पूछने लगे भाई ट्रांसपोर्ट की क्या प्रॉब्लम है। आपसे हम पॉलिटिकल आंसर नहीं पूछ रहे, ना आपसे हम कोई बहुत बड़ा सोल्यूशन की तलाश में है। हम तो आपने क्या महसूस किया है और उसका सोल्यूशन क्या आपके दिमाग में, ये बता दें। तो सिविल सर्विस में कोई चीज़ हम नहीं करना चाहते हैं जिसके लिए आपको रटने की आवश्यकता है। ये कोशिश की गई है पूरे समय कि आपकी पर्सनालिटी में जो है आप वही आंसर करें। GS का पेपर 4 जो है आप सभी जानते हैं, बहुत सारा लोगों का रिजर्वेशन था इस बारे में, उसके लिए कुछ पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है। जो आपको आता है वही आप उत्तर कर सकते हैं, कर ही नहीं सकते कुछ आप उसमें। और हमने इंश्योर किया था कि उसमें कुछ ऐसा न पूछा जाए जो बहुत थियोरेटिकल हो। आफ्टर ऑल ग्रेजुएट बने हैं, कैंटीन गए हैं, लड़कों से झगड़ा किया है, तो आपको समझ आती है ना कि कैसे रिलेशनशिप बनते हैं। पर वो सब चीज़ें मिस कर रहे हैं आजकल। मैं ये नहीं कहूँगा कि कोचिंग के फ़ायदे या नुकसान क्या होते हैं, बट एक नुकसान ज़रूर होता है कि आपको जो ये समझ है उससे दूर ले जा रहे हैं। आपकी पर्सनैलिटी पे एक चादर ढक रहे हैं और आपकी अपनी पर्सनैलिटी की आपको अपने तरह से वो पर्सनैलिटी दे रहे हैं, उससे बचिए। कोचिंग में जाइए तो ज़रूर पूछिए कि आपकी पर्सनैलिटी को वो आगे कैसे ले जाएंगे, आपको कैसे स्ट्रेंथ देंगे। और कोई प्रश्न है? हाँ, पीछे कोई है सर? माइक ले लें भाई, माइक ले लें।
सर, इंटरव्यू में मोस्टली जो बोर्ड होती है वो किस चीज़ पे फोकस किया जाता है? क्वेश्चन मैक्सिमम आप लोग किस चीज़ से, किस सेक्टर से, किस फील्ड से ज़्यादातर कभी?
मेरे ख्याल से जो लोग यहाँ इंटरव्यू दे के आए हैं फ्रेश, उनसे पूछना ज़रा आसान होगा। मेरा तो मानना ये है कि सिविल सर्विस का इंटरव्यू आधी किस्मत भी होता है कि आपसे कुछ भी पूछना स्टार्ट हो जाता है। आपके शहर में रहें, इससे बात शुरू हो सकती है। आप क्या पहन के गए, इससे बात शुरू हो सकती है। आपके मैनरिज्म क्या है, इससे भी शुरू हो सकती है। तो बात शुरू करने का एक तरीका है। ये आपसे डायलॉग है, पर जनरल नॉलेज नहीं है। ये आपकी समझ को देखने के लिए प्रश्न किए जाते हैं और आपकी नई सोच क्या है, आप कितने ईमानदार हैं और आप अननेसेसरीली हमें इम्प्रेस करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, बस यही बात है
सर।
इसके लिए मैं कोई थंब रूल नहीं है इसका, और इसमें कोई रेस्ट्रिक्शन भी नहीं है। इसको पर्सनैलिटी टेस्ट कहा गया है, इसको वाइवोसी नहीं कहा गया है, ठीक है ना?
So one final question out here.
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन अथर सर से है। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल तो मैं इनको कांग्रेचुलेशन करना चाहूँगा।
थैंक यू सो मच। यस यस
सर यूपीएससी का जो कंसीडर करती है कि जनरल पर्सपेक्टिव से आंसर दीजिए, लेकिन रिसेंटली ईयर हम देख रहे हैं कि बहुत ही डायनेमिक हो चुका है और मतलब कि इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन वगैरह, तो क्या हमें स्पेसिफाई या रिसर्च नॉलेज की जरूरत है, ऐसा कुछ मतलब कि क्या स्ट्रैटेजी रहती है मेंस?
मुझे लगता है सबसे बेटर चीज है हमारी अंडरस्टैंडिंग बेटर होनी चाहिए। अब अंडरस्टैंडिंग से क्या मुराद है, से फॉर एग्जांपल अगर हिस्ट्री का कोई क्वेश्चन आता है हिस्ट्री में, सो वी शुड नॉट कंसिडर इट ये खाली हिस्ट्री का क्वेश्चन है। I mean, इसका एक लिंकेज हमारी इकोनॉमी के साथ है। जिस तरह से आजकल के दौर में जो हमारी इकोनॉमी है, हमारी सोसाइटी सोशियोलॉजी है, हमारा जो ज्योग्राफी है, ये कल के लिए हिस्ट्री बनेगी, राइट? इसी तरह से अगर हिस्ट्री का क्वेश्चन है, इट हैज लिंकेजेस, ठीक है, हमारी ज्योग्राफी के साथ। एंड यू फाइंड सो मेनी क्वेश्चंस। लास्ट ईयर एक पानीपत का क्वेश्चन आया था ना, बैटल ऑफ पानीपत का, इसका ज्योग्राफी के साथ कनेक्ट था, इसका एक पॉलिटिक्स के साथ, उस टाइम की पॉलिटिक्स के साथ कनेक्ट था। तो ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड थिंग्स फ्रॉम मल्टीपल पर्सपेक्टिव्स। एक कॉम्प्रिहेंसिवली अंडरस्टैंड करना बेटर है रादर देन टेकिंग थिंग्स इन साइलोज। कि कोई ज्योग्राफी में आपने कोई चीज पढ़ी, ये खाली ज्योग्राफी के लिए पढ़ना नहीं है, इट हैज एन इम्पोर्टेंस। से अगर यहाँ पे हमारा ज्योग्राफी है, इट विल डिसाइड व्हाट काइंड ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर वी हैव। The kind of agriculture we have may decide what kind of say industries we have. It may also decide what kind of rural life we have, what kind of rural society we have. So there are very important linkages between different subjects, between different topics, and we should be mindful of those linkages as well. उससे क्या होता है, जब भी कोई आंसर आ जाता है तो हम उस आंसर को अलग अलग पर्सपेक्टिव से आंसर कर पाते हैं, जो बेटर रहता है rather than answering something from only one line of reasoning. Okay.
Thank you guys. For any further queries, you can talk to our expert faculty there, or you can join the 101 complimentary session there.
Thank you, Athar. So now I'll request DP sir to also felicitate the other rank holders who joined us late. Nitika Vilash, please.
So the next is Mr. Manish Gupta, rank 365. The next is Sachin Jain, rank 286. And the next is Amit Shriyansh, rank 597. Thank you.
So we'll say thank you to Athar and D.P. Agarwal sir. And we'll request all the other rank holders as well to share their experiences with you in short. You're all patient, you all want to hear more? Yes? So keep the questions coming. Let this session be as interactive as possible. And yes, so I'll request them to come on one by one. So whoever came first, I think you came first, right? So as in first, as in whoever came in first. Let's go in that order. Whoever's been beating the
Let them stand there only because then other people can see them. Other दूसरे कमरे में दिख रहे हैं. हाँ खड़े रहो please. Then you they can see them. हाँ.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll take on questions in rotation. So whoever has a question can just raise their hand and mic will be passed. And we'll request them all to answer one by one. Okay? Shelja, could you help everyone with a mic?
Hello friends, let me introduce myself again. I'm Neetika Vilash and 810 rank, and starting from my background I would say I'm the most unconventional student because I'm a fashion designer, and you know, when I started this journey many people didn't support me because it was they didn't think of me that I can do it, because it's a very practical subject, and coming into theoretical studies was a challenge. And for me it was interesting because it was a challenge. I started in 2011. It took me time for the reasons I told you. Ultimately I worked upon, this was my third attempt. So year by year I started and worked upon my any lekinas, and finally I got here. My optional was public administration, and that's it. Somebody want to ask any questions?
I have one question.
Yes.
These papers, some people say that you have to attempt whole of the paper, but some of the questions we have very little idea. So how to write at least decent answer or less than decent answer for those questions which we have very little information?
Okay, see, first of all, yes, my strategy I would say I try to finish my paper. See, generally most of the student, or let's say most of my friends who wrote mains, they have around 70% idea of the paper. They have prepared. 30% sometimes, you know, you know the topic, but you're not prepared that well. See, just like Athar said, you know, you have to have linkages of many topics. When you have that linkages, you can handle those questions. You cannot compartmentalize one topic from another. You have to interlinkage. See, whenever I cover a topic, it won't be only the topic, it will be like political, economic, social, cultural, international level, which I'll be thinking about the topic. So even if it is international relations, I'm not only thinking about what is happening in US, I would also think about economy-wise. I will also think about their society-wise. So it will also help in GS paper 1, paper 3. So something like that happens. So while preparing, if you build those linkages, you'll be able to handle those questions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So there's a candidate want to ask some question.
Ma'am, my question is related to men's examination. First thing, men's examination,
Okay.
the strategies for the men's.
Yeah.
So we have so many books. For example, we have in polity, we have Lakshmikant, D.D. Basu and Subhas Kashyap also. So what is good? Reading one book thrice or 3-4 books reading to have a broader perspective and broader approach to attend the answer?
See, specifically books-wise, I generally follow one book. If it is related to prelims, in the sense you're talking about polity, then I have actually mastered Lakshmikant, and most of my friends have, who are actually cleared. I think they must have mastered one book, because if you have sufficient knowledge of many books, that won't help. That will only create confusion. But when it comes to mains, I would say if I try to have many sources, whichever satisfies my curiosity about a topic, then it stops. So prelims wise, yeah, don't go to many books, but if mains wise, refer many sources.
Yeah. And then we can all take on questions one by one.
Hello friends, me Dr. Arvind Namdev. I have done post-graduation in anesthesia and medical science. My optional is medical science. I think most of the things have Athar and Madam has already told. One thing I want to emphasize, you have to do hard work, not only hard work but smart hard work. Means you should be aware of the things where you have to work hard. And you, for mains, you should practice writing good answers. Because mains is the main portion of the exam which decide your selection, and interview decide your ranking and which service you get. So for writing quality answer you require a practice. And one thing I also want to emphasize that in GS papers most of the students are not able to complete the papers. Sometimes they left 5-6 questions. I think you should give the equal times to all the answer. Giving only half hour to 6-7 last questions is not sufficient. You should divide your time accordingly so that you will give adequate focus to each answer. And now you can ask me any question because most of the things already have told.
Sir, एक question है मेरा. मेरा optional public administration है. तो जैसे कि most of the subjects में paper 2 थोड़ा analytical होता है with current affairs, right? लेकिन paper 1 thinker based है. तो पेपर 1 में और पेपर 2 को लिंकेज कैसे किया जाए ताकि पेपर 1 में भी थोड़े मार्क्स अच्छे आ सकें?
See, first of all, in paper 1, if your concepts should be very clear. See, let's say, first of all, paper 1 is not only about thinkers. It's a lot more. If you go through whole syllabus, if there's accountability and control, that is not, I mean, there are many other units. So first of all, you go through the syllabus. Then when your concepts are clear, let's say if there's Maslow's theory, if you have gone through, it's about motivation. And this is something which you can relate when you're talking about how to motivate personnel in Indian government. So you can relate motivation theories to employees of Indian government. But this is something which can only come when you're doing answer writing. Answer writing, then you understand what are the examples where you have to apply these linkages. So public administration, the biggest key to success is answer writing.
Hi, my name's Karan. I graduated from law this year. It's my first attempt. My option was law. So everybody's covered everything else anyway, right? So let us introduce ourselves first.
Hello friends, I am Sachin Jain and I did my engineering from IIT Lucknow, and when I started my preparation actually I was literally zero. What is geography, what is India's map? I used to draw in Ganga river out of India. I just wanted to tell you that my level of knowledge for GS was zero, and if I can clear then anyone can clear. I want to share only 3-4 things. Read standard books, make short notes, read regularly, and revise, keep writing practices. There is nothing new to this exam. There are many myths around about UPSC, like what they ask, what they expect, what to write. Because I have seen failures also. If you read standard books and if you write keywords, then this exam is easy. And I have seen people clearing in first attempt also, because sometimes naturally or sometimes by coaching, they get this kind of knowledge that what to write. Everyone should have faith in themselves, and all the best. Thank you.
Hi people, this is Amit. I'm a commerce graduate from Delhi University and I took my optional as sociology. I don't have anything else to say right now. Maybe I'll wait for the questions. Thank you.
Hello friends, my name is Manish Gupta. मैंने अपना B.Tech IIT रोपड़ से किया है and my optional was इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियरिंग, एंड जो मैंने इंटरव्यू था वो मैंने हिंदी में दिया था, जबकि मेरे सारे जो मेंस के जो सब्जेक्ट्स थे सब मैंने इंग्लिश में लिखे थे. तो यही मैं बोलना चाहूँगा. बाकी कोई क्वेश्चंस किसी को पूछने हो तो पूछ सकते हैं.
Ma'am, question is again regarding public administration.
Yes.
वही वो इंटरलिंकेज वाला जैसे कि आप बता रहे थे, आपको थोड़ा सा उसको बिट मोर एक्सप्लेन करेंगे प्लीज?
Can you give a good example?
जैसे
Actually, my optional is also PABAD, and interlinkages is not only needed in PABAD. Interlinkages, as he has also told, interlinkages is also needed in every part, like history, geography. If suppose agriculture question comes, you should write some geographical points, some economic points. This comes naturally when you keep preparing, when you keep making notes. Automatically it comes that what points we have to write. Write multiple points. Like I mentioned in geography, 2-3 points from geography about agriculture, 2-3 points from geography, 2-3 from economy, 2-3 from history. And this comes naturally. There is no artificial kind of inculcation. It will not happen. Paper 1 and paper 2, you make short notes like Bernard. Bernard, you should know about only 5-6 points about anything, prime minister, president. If you have idea about 6 key points, 6 to 10 key points, then just mention them in a fast manner.
और सर जैसे कि पब्लिक एडमिन के लिए डिफरेंट बुक्स पढ़ने की ज्यादा जरूरत है, या सम बेसिक कंसेप्ट्स क्लियर करने के बाद उसके साथ करंट अफेयर अटैच्ड करके?
Current affairs, what I felt, current affairs is very much needed in every question. Even in history, sometimes we add current affairs.
I just want to add on, you just asked the linkages part. I just want to add an example. You know about NPM. See, NPM, if you see, it's about competition, building competition in government. So when it comes to smart cities, now this concept is coming out with competition. So this is interrelation of, the paper 1 and paper 2. So this is how you have to link. You have to practically think how these theories are coming in practice. So this is something which will come in answer writing probably.
Hello. Yes, sir, I want to know about dynamic nature of this examination. Last year it was more focus on environment question, but last year it was less question on environment, and art and culture was also less question on last year stage. Sir, Athar sir, I want to know from you, how did you manage from that? Yes, sir.
Repeating the questions, like one.
Sir, I want to know about dynamic nature of this examination. Last year it was more question on environment and art and culture part, but last year it was less question on environment and less question from art and culture. Sir, how did you manage from that?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. There is one simple thing to it, that is don't skip things. ये UPSC की मर्जी है, एग्जामिनर की मर्जी है, वो कहाँ से कितनी ज़्यादा पॉइंट. This is something which is exactly not in our hands. इसलिए we should be mindful of it, respect the sanctity of the examination, respect the examiner, and not try to skip things. अब अगर हर चीज़ हम अच्छे से properly पढ़ेंगे तो फिर कहीं से भी पूछे क्या फर्क पड़ता है हमें? No? So yes, study things well and also in perspective. उस चीज़ का इम्पोर्टेंस जान के भी पढ़ेंगे तो थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा समझने में और आंसर लिखने में भी इजी हो जाता है. ओके?
Okay, sir, with regards to philosophy preparation, any specific books for Western philosophy online sites and for social religious philosophy?
For example, okay, for Western philosophy there are no good books. For एक है Why Mercy is there. It's a critique on Western philosophy. There's one book by Bertrand Russell, History of Western Philosophy. It's one of the classic books ever written in Western philosophy. He has analyzed philosophy right from Greek philosophers to the ones which were contemporary to him. So Bertrand Russell's that Western philosophy is also very good. You can also read John Hick. He has written a small book on philosophy of religion. That's also useful. O.P. Gauba is a decent book as far as political philosophy is concerned. Besides that, I found some material from Princeton University website useful. Even in IIT Madras is an NPTEL video series on Western philosophy. And if you have some doubts, you can use that as well. So what I'm trying to say is be pretty liberal when it comes to material. जहाँ से भी आपको लगता है कि मुझे फायदा हो, you can use that. But at the end of the day, make sure that you understand things well. आप ऐसा ना हो कि आप पूरा अपना जो है फैलाते जाएंगे. होता है ना कि आप कोई इफेक्ट बोलते हैं उसको, थिनिंग इफेक्ट. इट शुड नॉट बी थिनिंग, कि आप बहुत जगहों से पढ़ते हैं और जो बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट है वो क्लियर नहीं हो पाता. Okay? Understand the concept well. और जो आप पढ़ते हैं, it should again be to improve, to have better understanding of things.
To Athar sir, so
they'll take the answers.
Sir, I personally ask that have you done any underlining or diagram part in GS pens?
As he answered, he didn't use any highlighting and hardly any underlining. Yes.
You don't get time. You don't get time. It's not required.
As sir saying, it's not required in any of it. Basic answer writing doesn't change from school to college to UPSC. Basic answer writing remains the same. Fundamentals of exams don't change.
Question को समझो. What's the requirement of question? You just write it. Doesn't matter whether you use simple words. It's simple usage like when the examiner को समझ में आए. उसमें लिख दो जो examiner चाहता है, जो exam question की requirement है. Just simple things.
So I think
बाकी कुछ quotation ये सब word या कुछ ऐसा कुछ लेके जाने की कोई जरूरत नहीं. See the answer, see the question, understand it well. उसके बाद जो आपके पास best चीजें हैं, write them down.
So I think now we'll take the last 5 questions and let's try not to be repetitive with our questions for others' benefits.
Sir, myself Ashutosh, I want to ask D.P. Agrawal sir. Sir, I have given 3 times SSB by clearing UPSC CDs, and I have given 3 times SSB at 2 times Allahabad and Bangalore, and I got conference out. Sir, I want to know about the difference between the interview taking style in SSB and in the UPSC. Sir. What is the main key difference between them?
I have already mentioned about UPSC. I can't really much comment on the SSB. It will be unwise for me to comment. But definitely UPSC I have already explained. Okay?
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, मेरा question अग्रवाल सर से ही है. Sir,
ask my friends to sit down. Kindly sit down. Please take. Come, friend. Ji.
Sir, actually, I am a genuine IFOS candidate, aspiring. So, I have a little doubt about the pattern of the exam of Indian Forest Service. So, in the mains exam, there is only one paper of 300 marks out of 1700, which is about 17% weightage. But in prelims, it is given 100% weightage for general knowledge. So, is it rational? I mean, how is it logical?
देखिए जो प्रश्न आपने किया है मुझे पता नहीं कि क्यों आपको कंफ्यूजन है. दिस इज ए कॉमन एग्जाम गिवन फॉर सेलेक्टिंग पीपल फॉर डिफरेंट सर्विसेज. ये IAS के लिए एग्जाम नहीं है, ये पुलिस के लिए अलग से एग्जाम नहीं है. जो आप कह रहे हैं तो यदि अलग से एग्जाम होगा तो फिर अलग से होगा. इट्स ए कॉमन एग्जामिनेशन बेस्ड ऑन अंडरस्टैंडिंग एज ए ग्रेजुएट and who cover some of the skills required for civil services. ये आपकी ये टेस्ट करने का नहीं है कि आप इंटरनेशनल अफेयर्स में अच्छे हैं या कॉमर्स में अच्छे हैं. फिर वो पोस्ट के हिसाब से सिलेक्शन होता है जो इस एग्जामिनेशन का अभी सिस्टम नहीं है. ठीक है
सर, आई एम आस्किंग अबाउट इंडियन फॉरेस्ट सर्विस एग्जामिनेशन. मेंस इज सेपरेट.
और इसमें क्या प्रॉब्लम थी बताएं.
सर, प्रॉब्लम इज दिस दैट इन द मेंस एग्जाम the GS weightage is only 17%, but in prelims it is given 100% weightage.
So 100% weightage नहीं है ना. आपकी स्कीम ये है कि आप जो IAS का प्रीलिम है वो लेंगे.
यस सर.
ठीक है. बाकी का आपका एग्जाम है फॉरेस्ट का जो स्पेशलाइज्ड एग्जाम है.
यस सर.
पहला इज टू टेस्ट योर जनरल अंडरस्टैंडिंग अबाउट द कंट्री, अबाउट द कल्चर एंड अबाउट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल इश्यूज, so that even a forest officer you know these things. What we realize that each of the civil servant in the country, civil servant does not mean IAS, civil servant also a forest officer, civil servant also is an engineer. We are making it, in my time, I made an effort to ensure that you first know this country, its constitution, its culture, its heritage. which you say we have kept is high, which is a prelim exam. So that's the minimum required. After that you built up exam, civil service is one main and forest is another main. Forest is a technical exam where there is no GS as such, lesser. But on the other hand, the civil service exam is considered to be a common exam for number of positions. That's why there is a difference.
Thank you, sir.
Any question?
Hi, my question is from Athar sir. Hi sir, congratulations first of all. Sir,
yes.
My name is Kamran. I am from district Pulwama. Sir, I just wanted to ask, what sort of recreational activities did you do in your pastime?
Lot of them. In fact, I have watched every new movie, that comes on Friday.
How did you actually reduce your stress level?
Yeah. One thing is, it's very important. In fact, I said it while I was there, that to have a balanced life. That, don't do this, read 18 hours a day. That's not the purpose of this examination. It's simply not. Even sir was also telling you, whatever you observe, around you during socialization, that also helps you write answers. In fact, sir pointed to us paper 4. In fact, it's a fact, you end up writing that what you have observed. Now, if you shut up your eyes and ears and just, lock down inside your room, that probably is not the best way. So you should take things in a very balanced way. If you read for, say, 10 hours a day, make sure that you read well in those 10 hours, no compromise. But after that, keep some time for your hobbies, for your interests. Go out with your friends, sleep well, अपने health का अच्छे से ख्याल रखो. Take things, अगर वैसे लिया जाए तो you don't stress out. Okay, you can take things forward consistently. Yeah, games के लिए I used to play cricket a lot. I'm not good at even किसी गेम में अच्छा नहीं हुआ. मुझे क्रिकेट खेलते थे, मुझे खाली ना वो बॉल लेके आना पड़ता था. जब बैटिंग होती थी 2 बॉल में आउट हो जाता था. But still I खेलता हूँ अभी भी. I love playing say cricket, badminton, volleyball, whatever I get chance. इसके साथ ट्रैकिंग, I love ट्रैकिंग करता हूँ. कुछ बुक्स वगैरह लिखने का शौक है, पोइट्री एंड ऑल, तो I do that. So overall, yes, गाने सुनना, म्यूजिक देखना, मूवीज में अच्छा खासा इंटरेस्ट है. So I do that.
Hello sir, my name is Astha. So there's this one question I've been waiting to ask you, and I think there's a dilemma about this question amongst every student present here. It's like that I start studying one topic and it's really difficult for me to decide where to stop. As in, I just go in and I'll just find out and write down everything I know about the topic, and then I end up not studying the other topics. So is there something that could just make me understand that where is the one topic that I should end on, and then where's the other one I could start on? Yes. So that's a spiral, we just go on.
It's a trade-off.
Yeah.
So one thing that you have a certain limited amount of time, you also have a lot of things to cover. And so there's length, and now what kind of breadth or width you can give to your preparation. There are certain things on which you should not compromise. For example, say we have a topic like GST. Okay, sir mentioned it. So at least first of all you should know what GST is. Why is it important? Why is everyone talking about GST? Some people are saying that we can add up 1% GDP to a country if we implement GST. So how can we do that? So if everyone knows, if everyone is saying that GST is important to us, why are we not being able to implement it? What are some states have problems? What are the problems of those states? Some states favor it. Why do they favor it? What are the concerns of center? So who are the different players of it? So try to at least get that these ideas. These are something minimum things. Similarly, for example, we have Syrian crisis. Okay, so what is Syrian crisis? Who are the main players in the Syrian crisis? What are the fault lines? Kyun ho raha hai? Okay, what is the what is the role of countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, or United States, or Russia in these countries? Because these are the major powers which we deal with. Now, how does this crisis impact us as a country? How does it impact our economy? How does it impact our normal great power relations? So थोड़ा सा जो ये brief linkages हैं, which you should know. It's like इसमें कोई detail या research करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. Now you don't have to go and research the demography and everything and the social composition and everything of Syria. Okay, you can do that, but that would not be probably very suitable at this point of time. Anytime you go in depth, it's always good that when you study, but here you have to be mindful that you have a lot of things to cover and you should not skip them. Okay.
Hello sir, my question is also to you. So I would like to ask, should we mention subheadings in the essay, like to focus on some things, like some most important aspects?
You can, but I did not. You can, but ऐसा भी ना हो कि आप सब हेडिंग ही देते जाएं. सब हेडिंग से देखो क्या हो जाता है, जब आप एक सब हेडिंग दे देते हैं कहीं पे, इनफैक्ट हाँ, उसके बाद क्या जो आप नीचे लिखते हैं, it has to be within that सब लिमिट, सब हेडिंग. अब क्या होता है, कई बार क्या हमने सब हेडिंग दे दी, नीचे एक आधा पैराग्राफ लिख लिया, उसके बाद आर माइंड गॉट इनटू सम अदर आइडिया, हम लोग कुछ और लिखने लग गए, तो सब हेडिंग का पर्पस खत्म हुआ. तो सब हेडिंग से यू गेट कन्फाइंड कि जो उसके बाद आप लिखते हैं टिल योर नेक्स्ट सब हेडिंग जो भी है, दैट हैज टू बी रिलेवेंट टू दैट सब हेडिंग. ओके, एंड इन द वाइल आप डिविएट ना हो और जो मेन टॉपिक है उसको भी ना छोड़े. So I did not write subheadings, but if you are comfortable, if you find it useful, you can do that.
Which newspapers you read and how long for a day?
I read 2 newspapers, Indian Express and Hindu. Hindu is a ritual, but I found Indian Express also good. Many a times you should also look at other newspapers as well. Times of India, yeah, wo hai. I was reading this person called John Galbraith. He was talking about the problem of freedom of press. Say there is एक बड़ी सी problem है हमारे पास. We have big media houses. Which own newspapers, which also own the television channels, and they do great work in fabricating opinions and news. So, okay, so he said, he was asked this question, so he discussed this in breadth. Even Amartya Sen in his book, there's a recent book, few months back probably it was released, it's a compendium, The Country of First Boys. It's actually a collection of his articles, not exactly a book. He also mentions it in one of his chapters, the freedom of press. So what Galbraith says that it's fine, they're building big houses. So what we can do is we can create alternative means, alternative ways, alternative sources of information. So if there is one particular issue, so there are 3-4 opinions, one may be wrong, but as long as a good and other perspective also comes into public domain, I'm okay with it. Okay, so that is also the case with this. So newspapers, they are business, many of them are business houses as well, so there is an ideological perspective in it. It's always good to look at different, from different angles. Thank you so much. It was so nice being here, and I wish you all best of luck and stay committed. And I'm very sure that all of us together we can make a difference in in whichever capacities we are down the line. Okay.
So
thank you so much.
Remain seated for another 5 minutes. Thank you, Athar. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. My friends.
Come on, louder. So, okay. Oh, you can remain seated. Any more questions, or can we let them go? They're free? Okay, we have some hands. Yes.
Hello, I'm Sarang. In general studies, it is observed that it is comparatively easier to get 40% marks in the answer. So how do we take it from 40% to 50% or 60%?
Well, everybody will be scored on the same gradient, right? In the sense, if 40% is the highest, you just have to see that you get the 40%. You don't have to take it to 70, right? It's not an objective exam that way. In the sense, you're only competing with how much everybody else is getting. If you get 10% and everybody else gets less than 10%, you don't have to score 85, right? It's not like a normal school exam, right? You only have to focus on getting the marks which you will get, right, according to that year's gradient. If you look at the marks given every year, there's a variation there also. It's not consistent. So you don't really have to ever try to increase it beyond that.
Thank you.
So, are all the answers, are all the questions answered? Yes? Now, I think some of you wanted to also understand why not coaching and all of that, the whole story behind it. I really want to get some light into that, and I really want to talk about 2 things. I want to talk about some myths about the exam, and I want to talk about why and why not coaching. So those of you in your second and third attempts, I don't think this will be of interest. it's mostly of interest to you guys who are just starting off. So I'll wait for the senior ones to leave and then we'll continue.